Hello and welcome to this lecture where we're going to be looking at creative harmonizing. So I've got a project here called Focal, and I created this song with a vocalist called Peter Darling and a pianist called Lizzie Joyce. And we wanted to make a very uncomfortable song. And one of the main ways we did this is with the vocal harmonies. So Pete is a really good singer, and he actually went through and sung 8-part harmonies for some sections here. And I wanted to make it sound a little bit more uncomfortable. I wanted to make it sound a little bit more eerie and spooky. This track has a pedal note going through most of it, and it has some weird out of tune cellos. It has a lot of effects, a lot of different instruments that make it sound quite uncomfortable. So we wanted to convey this uncomfortable sound also with the vocals and through the vocal harmonies. And one of the main ways we did this is by using vocal harmonies that weren't the conventional ones. In most vocal tracks, the harmonies might be a perfect fourth, a perfect fifth, or maybe even a third. Sometimes vocalists might use sixths or sevenths as well. But in this, we did use some augmented fourths or diminished fifths. And we also used some major seconds. Another thing we did is we detuned it by sense as well. So even if we did detune it to a harmony, it was never quite perfectly in tune. So let's have a listen to this, and I'll go through how I actually created these uncomfortable harmonies. So there's a lot of feedback, there's a lot of reverb, there's a lot of uncomfortable sounds, and with the vocal harmonies, it doesn't quite sound right. It sounds slightly odd, and I think this oddness adds to the eeriness of the track. So let's have a look at these vocals, and I'll show you exactly what I did. So Pete actually sung in 8 different vocal harmonies. Let's open up the mixer. I'm just going to solo the vocals here. And you also notice each of these are bus to a bus 9. So when we go over to bus 9, it's this here. So all the tracks were sent over to bus 9. Then we added plugins here. So we have a compressor, a pitch shifter, and a space designer. The space designer is actually using moving spaces. So the reverb we're using does create a lot of movements, but the main effect you can hear is this pitch shifter. So let's click on this. So we're harmonizing this down 5 semitones. And we're also detuning this by 15 cents. There's 100 cents in a semitone, so it isn't quite right. It sounds quite odd. Then after this, what we're doing is we're busing this again to bus 10. So what we're doing is we're sending all these tracks to bus 9, and then we're busing it again to bus 10, adding another harmony. So this other harmony is going down 3 semitones and is also being detuned by 2 cents. So let's just hear the first harmony, which is this one. Let's hear this first harmony, where we're harmonizing this down 5 semitones. So we're mixing the original signal with the signal down 5 semitones and also up 15 cents. And this is getting sent to auxiliary 10. So this is getting bussed to bus 10. Let's hear this. So the signal that's being harmonized down 5 semitones is also getting sent down 3 semitones as well. So this signal is actually being harmonized by 8 semitones. If you think of it, 5, add free. So this creates quite an uncomfortable sound. It's not a typical harmony you might use. And let's hear this in the mix. So that's one way of using creative harmonies, is to actually bus your track or bus your vocal harmonies to the Logic pitch shifter. And the pitch shifter is quite useful. It allows you to choose the semitones, the cents, and you can mix it as well. So if you don't want to bus this, you could put the mix at, say, 50%. But if you're busting this, I recommend putting the mix up to 100. You can also use the timing, so you could choose vocals, speech, or drums, depending on what instrument you are using. So that's how I created these haunting choir sounds in this track. In the next lecture, we're going to continue looking at this track and also at creative harmonies.